No one can comply with that. No one, she never had a chance, the prosecution argued. The defense insisted Dean feared for his life, convinced he had seen a silhouette with a weapon. The courtroom became a study in timing. In milliseconds, dissected by law forensics told a different story. Dispatch logs frame by frame, analysis of the footage and testimony from Jefferson's 11-year-old nephew dismantled claims of reasonable fear. The child described his aunt crying, shaking confused by the sudden command. It painted a scene not of hostility, but of panic. A home invaded by misjudgment, dressed as procedure. Revealed assessments from Dean's hiring records, an evaluation that had deemed him psychologically unfit for police duty. The report described traits of narcissism and poor impulse regulation, suggesting systemic oversight in recruitment and supervision. When the verdict came, the air in the courtroom thickened. Dean, once an officer, now a felon, was sentenced to 11 years and 10 months in prison for Jefferson's family. The decision carried the unmistakable weight of partial justice. It punished misconduct, but couldn't restore faith or balance. Grief legal analysts later pointed to this case as a warning, embedded in Bodycam light transparency. Without restraint exposes not only reckless moments, but flawed foundations, how training haste and ego can override duty. The badge still shimmered under courtroom lights, but its reflection had changed, and beyond that judgment, another uniformed man stood ready for his own fall. Not for violence, but for the quiet collapse of integrity itself. Why would a sheriff, a man once entrusted to uphold the law, freeze mid-plea caught between guilt and identity in the Breckenridge County Circuit Court? Todd Pate stood before Judge Janet Crocker, the same kind of courtroom he had ordered others into for years, but this time the badge was gone, replaced by the plain uniform of a defendant. When the judge asked if he intended to change his plea from not guilty to guilty, Pate hesitated, his voice caught. Instead of answering, he asked if he could make a statement. The question hung in the air longer than it should have. That pause marked the unraveling of composure. The judge pressed again, demanding a simple yes or no. Pate stalled once more. Court transcripts captured Crocker's frustration rising. She warned him that if he couldn't answer, the court would move straight to a jury trial, calling it wasting my time and everybody else's time for someone once seated in the position of authority. That public reprimand carried its own sentence of embarrassment. Every hesitation showed the widening gap between his former image of control and the humiliation of accountability under Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. A judge must confirm that any guilty plea is knowing and voluntary